Good morning. This lesson is for my Honors Integrated 1. This is for section 12.1. But before I get started, I want to say that I hope that everyone is doing all right out there. So let's go ahead and jump into our three goals. Our first goal is going to be to discuss percent and money. Our second goal is going to be to discuss the structure of standard form equations. And our third goal is to create standard form equations that involve percentages or coins. Okay. And this lesson is going to lead to us being able to solve systems of equations by the Gaussian method. So maybe the equations will have someone eliminate by just adding them, or maybe you need to change a sign to get someone to cancel, or maybe you have to multiply one equation, or maybe you have to multiply both equations. But in this section, we're actually setting up equations. So let's go ahead and talk about our first goal. Our first goal is to talk about percent and money, right? So percent literally means is per 100, per century, per 100. And I have an example that says 5% of a dollar is 5 cents. So it takes 5 pennies to be to get to that per 100. So 5% is 5 pennies per $1, right? And so if we expand on that, and instead of having $1, we have $7. That means I'm going to have 7 of these. So 35 cents is 5% of $7. Okay, 35 cents is 5% of $7. Now we could have also found that number by going like this. Instead of 5%, I could have said 0.05, and I could have multiplied that by $7. And if you multiply that, you're going to get 35, but then you need to move the decimal place 2 places because this is 2 places to the left, and you would get 35 cents. So this is what we're going to want to use. Is we're going to want to use the decimal value of a percent times the value of what we're multiplying into. So hopefully that clarifies percent and money. Okay. And this would be like a tax or a fee, or a good investment where, for every dollar you invest, you're making 5 cents. It doesn't sound like much if you have $10, but if you're investing $100,000, now we're talking about a profit of 5,000. So, this is small in small amounts, but if this is a lot of dollars, then this becomes significant, right? Like 5% of $1 million would be 50,000 bucks. Okay, so that's a lot of $1 bills. Right, you're getting 5 cents for it. But it could also be like a tax, right, where you're taking away, where you're being charged 5 cents for every dollar, right? Which, if you have a 5% tax on $1 million, you're being charged $50,000, which is a lot. Ouch. All right, so I'm going to check off the percent and money, and I'm going to move on to our second, and that's going to be to discuss the structure of standard form equations. And it's basically 2 things add to a third, and I have an example here. 2 social media accounts, account A and account B, with a total of 71 followers. So a very simple standard form equation could be the amount of followers in account A plus the amount of followers in account B. That's going to equal the total amount of followers you have, which is 71. Again, 2 things add to a third. The number of followers in account A plus the number of followers in account B, that adds up to 71. That is going to be how we look at standard form equations, 2 things adding to a third. All right, so let's move on to our last goal, create standard form equations that involve percentages or coins. I'm only actually going to talk about percentages, but the idea is the same for coins. Okay. All right, so you have 2 investments accounts, X and Y, with $500 total. Account X makes 5% and account Y makes 7%. You made $31. There's 2 things there's 2 numbers in here that are being added to. And let's circle this. Let's make it very clear. This is the total invested. So there's going to be an equation that is equal to 500 because remember, two things add to a third. This is also a total. So two things add to this total. Two things add to that total. So let's go ahead and write our two equations, right? Our two equations in standard form. So I know that I have investments account X and Y, and together they add up to $500. I should have made that more clear. So you have two investment accounts, X and Y, with add up to a total of $500. Okay, so that means that just like right here, I could say that the amount that I have in account X plus the amount that I have in account Y, that's going to be equal to $500. That's how much money I have. Okay, so this next equation is probably going to be tricky for you to set up, but I want to focus on this. Okay, I'm going to use this idea where this calculated for me 5% of $7. So right here it says account X makes 5% and account Y makes 7%, and the amount that both of these make is $31. So the way that I'm going to write the amount that I'm making in account X is going to be the following: 0.05x. This is the amount I'm making in account X at 5%, plus 0.07y. This is how much I'm making in my account Y at 7%, and together in total, I've made $31. So again, two things add to a third. The amount in account X plus the amount in account Y, I have $500. The amount I make in account X at 5%, and the amount made at account Y at 7% adds up to a total of $31. So hopefully this helps explain to you guys how to set these equations up. And then from here, we go ahead and use the Gaussian method. No one will cancel by adding, no one will cancel by subtracting. But if I multiply the top equation by negative 0.05, I can add them together, cancel out the x, and you will be able to then solve for y and then use that value to solve for x. So hopefully this is making sense to you. Again, we'll be discussing this lesson during class time today, so I'm going to go ahead and call it there. I will talk to you guys later. Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.